JT had one martini with dinner. Come on, man. You don't tell the police that. I'm John Degasperis. I'm a lawyer in New York. I've been handling criminal cases in this state for close to 15 years. I've handled countless DWIs. And let me tell you one thing you never do. You never tell the police that you were drinking earlier in the day or evening before getting behind the wheel. Now, listen, I don't condone drunk driving, but there's also a way to be intelligent when interacting with police in the context of a DWI stop. Justin Timberlake earlier this week was charged with driving while intoxicated DWI. In New York State, that is an unclassified misdemeanor. Justin was allegedly stopped because police claim they saw Justin fail to stop at a stop sign and then subsequently failed to maintain his lane. They stopped Justin. They asked him to engage in field sobriety tests. Apparently, he engaged in those field sobriety tests and failed. They subsequently asked Justin to finish or submit to a chemical test, and he refused. He refused 3 times. That is what we call a knowing and intelligent refusal. In New York, if you refuse a chemical test, you will lose your driving privilege for 1 year. So Justin Timberlake is probably going to lose his license or his driving privilege here in New York State as a result of refusing that DWI. Now, in another video, I'm going to talk to you about the consequences of being charged with a DWI in New York. But what you should know for Justin's story is that this is a defensible case, I think. But Justin had made some mistakes. First, he told the police that he had a martini. Second, he engaged in the field sobriety tests. That's a bad idea. I recommend not engaging in field sobriety tests. Now, the third thing that some people may claim was a mistake was refusing the chemical test. I don't necessarily think that was a mistake. That may have been the best decision that Justin made. He will lose his license in all probability, but he can afford a driver. And if Justin ultimately pleads guilty to an alcohol-related offense, such as a DWAI, a driving while ability impaired, which is not a crime, then he will likely be eligible for a conditional use privilege in New York. So Justin has some options. He hired a local lawyer, meaning local to Sag Harbor, New York, which is where he was arrested. That was probably a good idea. I think local counsel in this context makes a lot of sense rather than bringing in some big shot New York City lawyer. I think people often think that the big shots are the way to go. They're really just overpaid windbags. What else do I want to say? Oh, here's the thing. I think that this is really poor form on the part of the prosecutor and the police department. Apparently, Justin was held overnight for an arraignment that occurred in the Sag Harbor Village Justice Court early in the morning. He was brought into the courthouse with handcuffs in the front. This is absolute bullshit. No one gets handcuffed for DWI once brought back to the station. Most New York counties are going to let the individual sober up if we're talking about a simple DWAI and DWI refusal. The police are going to let you sober up and tell you to come to court with an appearance ticket. The fact that they held Justin overnight and then had him handcuffed for a simple DWI and Justin has no criminal record, that's a flagrant foul, and there's probably no civil action, but it's poor form.